In the right place, but it must have been the wrong time. I done said the right thing, but it must have used the wrong line. I've been on the right trip, but I must have used the wrong car. Head is in a bad place, and I wonder what's good for. I've been in the right place, but it must have been the wrong time. My head is in a bad place, but I'm having such a good time. I've been running, trying to get hung up in my mind.
Previously on Blown Away, we left the beautiful Cala Mondrago, where we had anchored for a couple of nights beforehand. We sailed along the coast and across the Bay of Palma. We meet a race fleet and anchor in Palma Nova. Then we continued to Santa Ponza with no wind, but unfortunately lots of motorboats. Then we have a great sail to Ibiza. We try out the wind vane and get visited by dolphins. Then we sit out a storm in Santa Eulalia before motoring on to Calanonga.
Ashore, merrily, 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 before he shits some more. Try that little ditty. So, Nat, what are we going to do today?
Not sure yet. We haven't made a plan.
No plan?
No plan. We're going to go and explore a little bit on the shore here. Maybe do some shopping if we can find a little shop. And yeah, other than that, we've lost the dog, so that doesn't matter anymore.
Blends in with the seaweed. Like a ginger coloured seaweed.
Hey Nelson! Wait!
It's a dog's life.
Wait!
Show for the shore. I was hoping it was going to be a big wave.
Go!
Come on.
Go! Quick! Okay, Nelson's back. Look how clear the water is. Don't make it more stiff.
The same as the inverter.
Yeah. So what happened to the inverter, honey?
The inverter tried to burn the boat down. So the trusty inverter has been in there for 3 or 4 years. Successfully supplying me with 240 volts of electricity to recharge computers and drones. And so the inverter has finally given up the ghost. Nice Victron unit, wasn't cheap. Yeah, it's finished, fried, cooked. We could smell burning a couple of days ago, and smoke coming out of the thing. Never a good.
In fact, what did we smell? We didn't smell smoke.
TCP. I think what was happening was they coat the electrical equipment with something to protect it from moisture. I think the smell was that burning off.
Yes.
So at least we knew it was on fire before it actually caught fire.
We did.
This one coming up into these areas, I think we used to look around, so it's flying high. And we're actually rowing because...
It's good for the environment.
Yeah, it's good for the environment.
There's been a rock fall in the cave. Come on then, Nelson. In.
Come on, dog.
Come on. He's in. Ian, did you get a little wet then?
As always. Can we buy a rabbit now? And he's growling at us.
Yeah.
Now the trick to this is to stop so getting pushed even further up on the freaking beach. I end up using the paddles like shovels. Just had the
Hey!
last... Is he stupid? You don't need to answer that question because I already know it. Yeah, on a GoPro if I won't get it.
I can see her.
The dot in the distance.
So that's where we were planning on going to take the dog for a walk, but having seen how the swell is running in there, we're coming up with a change of plan. I was joking, honey.
Go, 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 go. Oh, dear.
Go, go.
Come on.
Good boy. Taking the snubber shackle off the anchor chain. There, it's off. Now we just lay it back. I have to tighten up his hands. Right. Anchor's coming up, honey. His engine's starting. So this morning we left Ibiza from Calalonca and we've gone past Ibiza town and we've now gone between the cut between Ibiza and Formentera, and we're planning on anchoring just on the sort of on the southwest anchorage on the northern end of Formentera. It's actually a different island. It's Espalmador or something like that, and we're going to anchor there for this evening.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what do you make of all the ferries that are running backwards and forwards here?
There are quite a few ferries and they all do go quite quickly and they create quite a big wake.
Yeah. So this big sucker that's bearing down on us any minute, we're going to get a face full off of him, right?
Yes, we are.
Because
once the boat is safely tied to the mooring, we run the dog ashore to the island of Espalmador. Right on it, I can't actually see it. Not a quick spinny, honey. And finish on the boat. Lay that in.
No.
Once back at the boat, we both jump off with snorkels to check out the mooring ball.
Shackle on that hole looks new.
After our little snorkel under the boat, we hop in the dinghy and run to the marina in Formentera to try and hopefully get some fuel for the generator and for the dinghy. They're quite big rocks when they come up, aren't they?
Yeah, funny. We are Formentera and coming in for some fuel, hopefully. I just hope they have somewhere here that sells petrol.
Hopefully it's gasolina. Are you liking Formentera?
Yeah, this place is stunning. Like, beautiful. Really, really attractive.
The following day, we take our snorkel gear and our cameras and go for a little snorkel around one of the islands within the anchorage. The grass that you can see in this video is known as Posidonia or eel grass. You find it quite a lot in the Balearic Islands and it's protected because it makes a very good nursery area for fish. So in a lot of areas where the Posidonia is, you're not allowed to anchor. It's purely mooring buoys to try and protect the grass from the anchors and anchor chains from pulling it up.
Oh, the temperature here is like, oh, I'll take this every day. Woo!
We went for a walk across the island of Espalmador. There were loads of seabirds. They were obviously nesting. We found a nest with some eggs in, and we also tripped over one of the chicks almost because it was very well camouflaged. Nelson loved chasing the lizards. They always outwitted him, but he still chased them. And we at the time had the anchorage pretty much to ourselves. As you can see, we're sat quite far out, but we're on one of the only 2 mooring buoys that were actually laid at the time. In this particular area, you're not allowed to anchor on the Posidonia eelgrass, as I mentioned earlier. Most of the boats you can see are anchored on sand. A couple are in the grass, unfortunately. And yeah, that's the beautiful island of Espalmador. It's on the cover of the pilot book because it's one of the most beautiful places we've ever been. We walked up to this little tower which is located on the island. Somebody's obviously been slightly renovating it, but it's still got a lot of charm. The island is actually privately owned. There's obviously a few private houses on the island, but they don't mind visitors as long as their privacy is respected. Later that evening, Ian prepares us a lovely barbecue and we watch the sunset. So, as with everybody, we also have to go and get groceries from the supermarket every once in a while. Unfortunately, we don't have a car, and we don't have a local Tesco's, so this is our commute to the supermarket. It's a hard life.
This is beautiful.
Through the anchorage, we recognise Kittiwake from the YouTube channel Sailing Kittiwake. We pop over to say hello, and Ryan and Elena welcome us on board. We end up discussing different video electronics and gimbals and drone technology.
We've got a drone, and this guy's saying so someone said, oh, if you just hold the drone itself, but we tried it.
we decided that our best option for the supermarket being closest is to actually anchor in the lagoon. It's an extremely shallow entrance, and the whole lagoon itself is half a metre deep in places, and obviously in certain places it's a lot less than that. We actually anchor by our outboard engine at one stage, so Ian decides it's a lot quicker just to get out and walk.
But it is actually a wreck, look. You can see it kicking up all the sand off the coast. It's steeper just over there.
I was looking at these things still afloat, thinking, yeah, big deal. Okay, the anchor outboard thing's down.
Good.
We're anchored. We've anchored by the outboard engine.
Sorry, Danny.
Man, that is properly shallow. It's not the dog. It's you.
El Burrow. Watch your shorts, honey, they're getting wet. Honey, the shorts are soaked.
Oh no. In a hole.
So tell us what just happened here.
Fell in a hole.
That way your shorts got a little wet.
Wait, what's in there? It's too heavy. We do have an anchor in there.
We do.
So I'm thinking I'll leave it here and put the anchor there.
Okay.
So, while we walk the dog, we've been picking up other people's garbage and plastic bottles and all kinds of crap. And we're now left with a dinghy full of garbage that we apparently can't get rid of very easily. So we've got a couple of bin bags. We're going to go just put this in a litter bin and fill the litter bin up, because there's no choices. We can't find a big green disposal bin, which is a shame. But it's better than leaving it on the beach, right? It's not ours. We picked it up.
El Burrow.
El burro.
See,
See?
look, I have to carry.
Are these drink bottles empty?
No.
Do you want a drink? See, even the dinghy's got a bigger anchor than some cruising boats. If you thought Bavaria, it's a standard equipment. 42 foot.
No, I can film better from over here too.
We can row from here.
So we're just leaving the lagoon in Formentera. We've just been to do a bit of food shopping, and now we're following a channel to try and get back out. So
So we met the YouTubers from Kitty Wake, a young couple on a, what was the boat?
the Heavy Twins.
Heavenly Twins. The Heavenly Twins catamaran. So we picked up some extra barbecue stuff just in case they want a free meal. Apparently you can walk across between this island here and that island there. There's an isthmus, I think that's what they call it, a piece of land that is joined by a sandbar. I think it's called an isthmus. I'll check that, Google it. And we are going to walk across it. Now, I'm feeling relatively confident in this mission because I've got the floating dry bag on my back. And obviously there's a bit of an advantage in other aspects too, in that you could potentially get washed away. That's wet. It's cold.
It's not cold.
Officially cold.
Yeah, get deeper, honey.
Sinking in the sand. Hoorah! Fuck yeah. those girls are doing it. Can you feel that current now? It's too cold. I say it's too cold to go swimming, so we didn't go swimming, we went for a walk. We're halfway. Look who's getting brave now.
That's the dinghy over there, which means we have to do it all again. So once you've finished crossing the isthmus, you finally get to the other side, and then you get to read all the danger and warning signs that tell you definitely not to do it if there's any kind of sea. We've still got to get back.
It's just like a modern art thing.
Come with me and you'll be in a world of your imagination. Take a look.
I'm guessing this is mostly made up from crap they've fished out to sea. Hey, look at this one. This one's been carved. Come see this one. That's pretty cool.
Traveling in a world of my creation. What we'll see will defy explanation. And if you want to view
That's in the camera.
paradise, simply look around with you.
Oh.
Anything you want to do it. Want to change the world. There's nothing.
It's like, who are you? This is my house. I think he was asleep.
What are you up to?
Picnic, beach,
Chicken wings,
chicken wings, last night's barbecue with Kitty Wake.
The rib pot's right next door,
Yeah.
and this is our lunch spot.
Yeah, it's a bit busy for my liking.
If you look at this end, it actually looks okay, but when you pan round this side,
It's a bit crazy.
it's crazy.
What's your nickname?
Spielberg.
Spielberg.
Okay, where are we in?
We are on
You forgot again.
Kitty. Is it Kitty Hawk? Kitty Wake. Kitty Wake. Take two. We're on Kitty Wake.
Take two. Go.
Yeah, we're on Kitty Wake.
Good.
At anchor. Just had a fantastic meal. Drinking some beer. Chilling. Watching the sun go down.
Perfect. In Formentera.
Formentera. Well,
Good.
technically it's not Formentera.
I might have to video you guys too. Smile, smile. It's like dark, shadowy stuff anyway, so it doesn't matter because the sun's right behind you. Cool.
You can always deny it.
Next time on Blown Away, we leave the island of Espalmador and Formentera and motor around the west coast of Ibiza. We arrive in San Antonio and decide to stay a couple of nights in the marina. While we were in San Antonio, we decided to take our bikes and cycle to the old town of Ibiza. Unfortunately, the weather wasn't great. I fell off my bike, Ian got a puncture, and it turned into a bit of a bike ride from hell. The following morning, we left and went to Isla Conejera. We had the anchorage completely to ourselves, so we decided to do a bit of scuba diving. The island itself is actually protected because of a colony of seabirds, So you're not actually allowed to land on the island, but you're more than welcome to swim around it and obviously underwater. At sunrise the following morning, we left and motor sailed to the Columbret Islands. As the Columbret is another protected area, you're not allowed to anchor, so you have to pick up a mooring ball. Ian went down to check the mooring setup with his snorkel. While he was down there, he was surrounded by these weird jellyfish-type creatures. The Grand Columbret Island, which is where we were moored, is actually an old volcanic crater, which creates the perfect anchorage.